The humble village. Village hut. Day. Anya pauses, her hands trembling slightly as she sets down the half-finished basket. Anya. Nervously, but why our village, Mother? There are so many others. Mother. With a knowing smile, the Pharaoh has heard tales of our wisdom and the unique strength in our hearts. They believe the right woman may come from humble roots. Anya stands, her mind racing. She has always known her village was simple, but her mother had taught her to value courage and wit over wealth. Anya, determined, I won't hide, Mother. If they come, I'll answer their questions. Mother, gently places a hand on Anya's shoulder. You are brave, my daughter. Remember, if chosen, you have the power to change more lives than your own. Village Square. Day. A small crowd gathers as the Pharaoh's guards approach on horseback. Anya stands tall, her heart pounding but her resolve strong. The village elder steps forward to address the guards. Elder. Bowing welcome, noble ones. We are honored by your presence. How may we assist you? Guard Captain. Sternly. We seek a woman of rare intellect and compassion, one who may serve and advise the Pharaoh. Present your village's finest. The crowd murmurs anxiously. Anya steps forward, her mother watching with pride from afar. Anya. Voice steady. I am Anya. I will answer your questions. The captain looks at her, his expression assessing. He gestures to a guard who holds a scroll with a list of riddles and challenges. Guard Captain. Very well, Anya. If you are worthy, show us your wisdom and kindness. Your first trial begins now. Village Square. Moments later. The villagers watch as Anya faces her first challenge, a riddle meant to test her wit. Guard. Reading aloud. I am not alive, yet I grow. I don't have lungs, yet I need air. I don't have a mouth, and yet water kills me. What am I? Anya closes her eyes, thinking carefully. A smile forms on her lips. Anya. Confidently, fire. The guard nods, impressed, and the crowd lets out a sigh of relief. The captain's expression remains neutral, but a hint of approval flickers in his eyes. Guard Captain, you have answered well. Now, demonstrate your kindness. The captain steps aside to reveal a beggar woman, frail and tired, sitting on the ground. Her hands tremble as she holds an empty bowl. Anya kneels in front of the woman, speaking softly. Anya. Kindly, what is it you need most, dear one? Beggar woman. Whispers. Warmth and food. I have gone too long without either. Anya removes the woven shawl from her shoulders, placing it gently around the woman. She then signals to her younger brother, who stands nearby. Anya. Calling, Tarek, bring her some bread and fruit. Tarek hurries to fulfill her request. The beggar woman's eyes fill with tears, and the crowd murmurs, moved by Anya's compassion. Guard Captain. Nodding, you have a heart that sees others' needs before your own. Perhaps the Pharaoh's trust will not be misplaced. He turns to the guards. Guard Captain, prepare her. Anya shall travel with us to the palace. Anya takes one last look at her village, the place she has always called home, and then glances back at her mother. Their eyes meet, and in that silent exchange, Anya feels both the weight and the honor of what lies ahead. The royal palace. Pharaoh's throne room. Day. Pharaoh Akhenaten leans back, the weight of leadership evident in his tired eyes. Hormheb, his trusted general, stands beside him, his brow furrowed. Hormheb. Hesitant. A young woman, your majesty? The court will question your wisdom. Akhenaten. Sighs. The court is filled with voices that echo each other. I seek someone untouched by politics and greed. Someone who sees the world differently. A herald enters, bowing low. Herald, your majesty, the woman you summoned from the village has arrived. Akhenaten, leaning forward, intrigued, bring her in. The grand doors open, and Anya steps into the throne room. She keeps her head bowed, but her posture is steady and confident. Her simple village attire stands in stark contrast to the opulence surrounding her. Akhenaten, studying her, raise your head, child. Let me see you. Anya lifts her head, meeting the Pharaoh's gaze. His eyes narrow slightly as he observes her unflinching demeanor. Akhenaten. Curious, what is your name? Anya. Respectfully, Anya, Your Majesty. The pharaoh gestures for her to come closer. Anya approaches, her heart racing, but she draws strength from her mother's words. Akhenaten. Gently, I am told you possess both wisdom and compassion. Tell me, Anya, if you had the power to change one thing about my kingdom, what would it be? Anya pauses, the question heavier than she expected. She glances around, noting the anxious expressions of the nobles and Horemheb's watchful gaze. Anya. Carefully, Your Majesty, I am but a humble village girl. Yet, from where I come, we speak often of the balance between strength and gentleness. If I could change one thing, it would be to find more ways for your people to feel that they are truly heard and cared for. Even the mightiest river needs to nurture the land around it. The court falls silent, astonished by Anya's eloquence. Horemheb's eyes narrow, but Akhenaten's expression softens, a faint smile forming. Akhenaten. Thoughtfully. A river that nurtures, you speak with a wisdom beyond your years. He turns to Horemheb. Akhenaten. Perhaps she is exactly the perspective we need. Arrange for Anya to stay in the palace and be shown its workings. I wish to see how she might serve as an advisor, unburdened by the past. Horemheb. Reluctantly, as you command, Your Majesty. Palace courtyard day. Anya stands in awe, taking in the sprawling beauty of the palace gardens. Servants and guards bustle around, and nobles whisper as they watch the new arrival. A young scribe named Kemet, curious and kind-eyed, approaches her. Kemet. Smiling, you must be Anya. Welcome to the palace. It's not often we see someone so refreshingly different. Anya. With a small smile. Thank you. It's a world unlike anything I've ever known. Kemet leans in, whispering. Be careful, though. The palace is as beautiful as it is dangerous. Many here play games that could be your undoing. Anya nods, understanding. She knows she must tread carefully, but deep down, she feels ready. Her journey is only just beginning, and the heart she carries from her humble village will be her greatest strength. Royal Gardens Day. Anya quickly stands, bowing low, her cheeks flushing with surprise. Pharaoh Akhenaten gestures for her to rise, his smile warm and sincere. Akhenaten. Softly. There is no need for formality here, Anya. You tend these flowers with such care. It is as though you give them life. Anya straightens, her fingers still dusty with soil. She studies Akhenaten, noticing the gentleness in his eyes that seems at odds with the heavy crown he wears. Anya. Gently. Life is a gift, Your Majesty, even for the smallest of things. The earth gives and takes, and we are merely its keepers. The pharaoh seems moved by her words, as if the burdens on his shoulders lighten for a moment. Akhenaten. Thoughtfully, if only more in my court shared your philosophy. Tell me, do you find joy in your work here? Anya hesitates, choosing her words carefully. She can sense the weight of his question, the way he truly listens. Anya. Honestly, the palace is grand, but it feels heavy. Yet, tending to the gardens brings me peace. It reminds me of home, where simplicity held its own beauty. Akhenaten's expression turns wistful, his gaze drifting to the sky. Akhenaten. Sighing, I envy you, Anya. The freedom to find joy in the simple things. Sometimes I wonder if all this, gestures to the palace, is as much a cage as it is a kingdom. Anya. Carefully. Even a caged bird can sing, Your Majesty. Perhaps it's about finding the right melody. Akhenaten's smile widens, and he chuckles softly. Akhenaten. Amused, wise words from a village girl. You may not realize it, Anya, but you have given me much to think about. He leans in slightly, his voice softer, almost confiding. Akhenaten. Earnestly, I am grateful you are here. Do not lose that gentle heart of yours. As he turns to leave, a shadow moves nearby. Horemheb stands in the distance, watching the interaction with narrowed eyes. The general's jaw clenches, a hint of suspicion brewing in his mind. Palace gardens later. Anya sits by the fountain, the water glistening in the sunlight. Kemet, the young scribe, approaches, carrying a bundle of scrolls. Kemet, playfully, "It seems you've caught the Pharaoh's attention, Anya. That's no small feat." Anya looks up, worry flickering across her face. Anya, whispering, "I didn't mean to. I only spoke from my heart." Kemet sits beside her, his tone growing more serious. Kemet, concerned, "The palace is full of eyes and ears. Be careful, Anya. Kindness can be a strength, but here, it can also be a vulnerability." Anya, nodding, "I understand. But I can't pretend to be someone I'm not." Kemet watches her, admiration in his gaze. Kemet, smiling, "Then may the gods watch over you. I have a feeling you're going to change more than just the flowers in this garden." Unbeknownst to them, a figure watches from behind the stone columns. Hormheb clenches his fists, his mind plotting how to keep control over the pharaoh's growing attachment to this simple village girl. A growing bond. Pharaoh's private study, night. The warm glow of lanterns fills the study, casting golden light on walls adorned with intricate hieroglyphs and scrolls of wisdom. Akhenaten sits with Anya at a low, carved table scattered with texts on philosophy, art, and the nature of the gods. Anya's fingers brush lightly over a scroll as she speaks, her voice carrying a delicate mix of wonder and conviction. Anya, thoughtfully, "Art and stories, Your Majesty, have the power to shape souls. In my village, we used to paint the simplest things, a river, the sun, a bird in flight, to remind ourselves of the beauty in the everyday." Akhenaten leans closer, captivated by her sincerity. His face softens in a way that no royal decree or council meeting has ever managed. Akhenaten, sincerely, you have a gift for seeing what others overlook. You make me question everything I thought I knew about this kingdom and about myself. Anya blushes, lowering her gaze for a moment before meeting his eyes. Anya, quietly, I never imagined I would have the chance to share such thoughts here with you. They fall into a comfortable silence, their hearts aware of each other's presence in a way that goes beyond mere words. The world outside, the responsibilities, the expectations, seems to dissolve. Akhenaten, softly, Anya, do you believe that fate brought you here? That perhaps, even in the grand design of the gods, you and I were meant to meet? Anya feels her heart skip a beat, but before she can answer, the doors to the study creak open. Hormheb enters, his expression a mask of professional detachment, but his eyes betray a flicker of displeasure. Hormheb, bowing slightly, Your Majesty, forgive the intrusion, but matters of state require your attention. Akhenaten straightens, the moment shattered. He turns to Hormheb, a flicker of irritation in his eyes. Akhenaten, sighing, must it be now, Hormheb? Hormheb, firmly, yes, my pharaoh. The council awaits your decision on the latest decree. The pharaoh rises, his gaze lingering on Anya. There is something unspoken, a silent promise in the way he looks at her. Akhenaten, to Anya, we will continue this discussion. Your insights are precious to me. Anya nods, feeling a pang of sadness as he leaves. Hormheb casts a lingering glance at her, his suspicion deepening. Anya's chamber, later that night. Anya sits by the small window of her chamber, the moonlight washing over her thoughtful face. Her fingers trace patterns in the air, mimicking the shapes of the stars. A quiet knock interrupts her reverie, and Kemet peeks in. Kemet, whispering, Anya, may I come in? Anya gestures for him to enter, and he steps inside, closing the door quietly behind him. Kemet, lowering his voice, I heard that you spent the evening with the pharaoh. Anya, you must be careful. Hormheb is not a man to be taken lightly. He is loyal, yes, but to his own vision of the kingdom. Anya, nodding, I know. But the pharaoh, he listens. He seeks something different, something real. Kemet's expression softens, but he still looks worried. Kemet, gently, just promise me that you'll guard your heart. This palace has a way of making even the purest intentions turn into something twisted. Anya looks out at the moonlit gardens, her heart torn between the budding love she feels for Akhenaten and the warning signs she knows she cannot ignore. Anya, whispering, "I will try, Kemet." But sometimes, the heart follows its own path, no matter how dangerous. A royal dilemma. Nefertiti's chamber. Day. Nefertiti stands tall, her regal presence commanding the room. Her striking features are etched with a mixture of anger and pain, and her eyes blaze with a fury reserved only for deep betrayal. Akhenaten, usually so composed, shifts uneasily under her piercing glare. Akhenaten. Defensive. Nefertiti, it's not what you think. Anya has brought new ideas, a different way of seeing the world. It has nothing to do with betrayal. Nefertiti, voice trembling, you speak of her as if she is some prophetess. What spell has this simple village girl cast upon you? Akhenaten's expression softens, but he stands firm. Akhenaten, earnestly, it isn't a spell. She speaks to the heart of the people suffering, to the balance I have tried so hard to achieve. Her perspective has made me see my reign differently, and she has given me hope. Nefertiti takes a step closer, her hands clenched at her sides. Nefertiti, bitterly, hope? And what of our bond, Akhenaten? The promises we made to change the kingdom together? Is that worth less than this new hope? Akhenaten's shoulders slump slightly, a heavy sadness clouding his face. Akhenaten, quietly, our bond has always been precious to me, Nefertiti. But you must understand, the people are suffering. The kingdom is strained. Anya, she has shown me a way to bring balance, to lead with both strength and compassion. Nefertiti's eyes narrow, and she turns away from him, her voice lowering to a venomous whisper. Nefertiti, coldly, if this girl threatens the unity of our rule, then she is dangerous. And dangerous things must be dealt with. Akhenaten, startled. What are you saying? Nefertiti turns back to him, her expression hardening into one of fierce resolve. Nefertiti, defiantly, I am saying that I will not sit idly by while a girl from the fields drives a wedge between us. You may be enchanted, but I will not let her weaken the throne. I will do what I must to protect our legacy. Akhenaten feels a pang of fear at her words, realizing the gravity of the situation. Akhenaten, pleading. Nefertiti, please. Do not let jealousy drive you to something we will all regret. I need your wisdom, not your wrath. Nefertiti's eyes glisten, but her resolve does not waver. Nefertiti, whispering, you once needed only me. Now, it seems, we are no longer enough. She sweeps past him, leaving the chamber with a storm brewing in her heart. Akhenaten watches her go, a heavy weight pressing on his chest. Palace corridor. Moments later, Nefertiti strides down the corridor, her anger simmering beneath her composed exterior. She catches sight of Hormheb, who stands nearby, observing her with a knowing look. Hormheb, bowing slightly, my queen. You seem troubled. Nefertiti stops, her gaze hardening as she considers the general, a new plan forming in her mind. Nefertiti, coolly, Hormheb, you are loyal to the throne, are you not? Hormheb, straightening, always my queen. Nefertiti, with a calculated smile, good. We may have a problem that requires swift and decisive action. Hormheb's lips curl into a thin smile, understanding her meaning. Hormheb, nodding, I am at your service. Anya's chamber, night. Anya sits alone, staring out at the night sky. A chill runs down her spine, as if she can sense the shifting tides of power within the palace. Kemet enters quietly, a worried look on his face. Kemet, urgent whisper. Anya, you must be careful. Whispers are spreading. Nefertiti knows of your influence over the pharaoh, and she is not one to forgive easily. Anya's heart races, but she stands, her jaw setting with quiet determination. Anya, softly, I never meant to disrupt anything. I only wanted to share what I knew to help. Kemet steps closer, his voice thick with worry. Kemet, pleading, then perhaps it's time you consider leaving the palace before it's too late. Hormheb and Nefertiti are forces you do not want to face. Anya looks into Kemet's eyes, a tear slipping down her cheek. Anya, whispering, but if I leave, who will speak for the people? who will remind the pharaoh of what truly matters. Kemet swallows hard, realizing the depth of her resolve. Kemet, softly, then may the gods protect you, Anya, for you are about to face a storm of fateful decision. Pharaoh's throne room, night. The flickering torchlight casts long shadows across the room. Akhenaten and Anya, cloaked in secrecy, stand close enough to feel the intensity of their forbidden bond. Akhenaten, lowering his voice, the priests of Ammonius already grow restless. My devotion to Aten has made enemies, but our love, if they discover it, Anya, eyes widening, they will stop at nothing to protect their power. Even if it means she shudders, ending us. A sudden noise outside the throne room startles them. Anya instinctively clutches Akhenaten's arm, her fear palpable. Akhenaten, gently, do not be afraid, Anya. I swear, I will find a way to protect you. Pauses, conflicted, but if I make another enemy now, it could mean a war. They share a silent moment, both understanding the impossible weight of his promise. Temple of Ammonius, dawn. The high priests gather in the echoing halls, their elaborate white robes flowing as they walk in unison. Amenhotep, the high priest, presides over a heated council meeting. Amenhotep, Pharaoh's heretical devotion to Aten weakens us. If he continues down this path, we lose more than favor. We lose our land, our identity. The council members nod solemnly. They know Akhenaten's religious reforms threaten the traditional power of the gods of Egypt, and whispers of conspiracy begin to fill the chamber. Garden of Lotus Blooms, midnight. Anya slips through the lush foliage to meet her confidant, Maya, a servant girl with secrets of her own. Anya, voice trembling, Maya, you have to help me. If the priests know of us, they'll make an example of me. Maya nods. Love has no place for those who serve power. But she hesitates, looking over her shoulder. I've heard whispers of a way out. A caravan leaves for the desert in 3 days, bound for the Red Land. You must act quickly. Anya's heart aches, torn between running away from the danger and staying close to Akhenaten. Her mind races, knowing that any decision she makes will alter the course of their lives, and possibly the entire kingdom. Pharaoh's private chamber, night. Akhenaten sits at his gilded writing desk, running his fingers through a papyrus scroll bearing Aten's holy hymns. He writes a secret decree, pausing to think of Anya. But his contemplation is interrupted by Nefertiti, his wife and queen, who enters silently. Nefertiti, voice like a whispering wind, you are distracted, my lord. Is there something or someone pulling you away? Akhenaten stiffens, feeling the weight of his lies. Nefertiti's piercing gaze seems to see through every hidden truth, and he knows his wife is not only beautiful, but dangerously shrewd. Akhenaten, choosing his words carefully, the kingdom demands much of me, my queen. Sacrifices must be made. Nefertiti gives a small, knowing smile, as if she understands more than he reveals. As the stakes rise, Akhenaten and Anya must navigate a labyrinth of love, loyalty, and duty. Tensions between religion and power threaten to erupt, while the social customs of the time weave a delicate web they cannot escape.
The accidental Pharaoh's wife. The accidental Pharaoh's wife.
Luxurious penthouse night. Isabella stands at the window, her eyes tracing the glittering lights of the city below. The vibrant streets are alive with energy, but from this height, they seem almost unreal.
The secret billionaire. The secret billionaire.